Hello, everyone. You're watching Let's Talk About Prepping. I'm Tyler, your host, and today we're talking about some of the misconceptions surrounding self defense. Violence is one of the worst emergencies that we can experience, but unfortunately, we're far more likely to encounter some form of violence than we are some of the other things that we talk about in prepping community circles, like supervolcanoes or economic collapses. At the same time, many of us are so sheltered from different forms of violence that we tend to form misconceptions about how violence tends to occur. I'm guilty of this myself, although I don't think that we should call it being guilty because it's just sort of a natural thing to do. But leaving these misconceptions unchallenged can be extremely dangerous. I recently watched a video on the channel Reality Survival and Prepping in which the host, JJ, talks about the idea of using car keys as a sort of improvised claw weapon when being attacked, and how he thinks that this is a horrible idea. I'll share links to the video in the description below. He has a great channel. He talks about how you're more likely to hurt yourself than anybody else. And although this is something that I hadn't really put a lot of thought into before because I tend to carry a knife, when I realized what he was getting at, I realized that he had a great point. We're prone to breaking our fingers when punching with full force with a stable fist, and any uneven weight that's added into that just increases that danger. And having something sharp protruding from between your fingers is a great risk in itself. You're likely to cut yourself at least as much as you are anybody else that you swipe at when using your car key claws. But let's examine that idea of the claws, because humans don't have any natural weapons to speak of. Most animals have fangs or claws which allow them to injure or kill at a touch. And I think therein lies the idea that makes this so attractive to many people. We want something that allows us to cause extreme injury to somebody just at a touch, without skill and without needing to be able to apply precise and powerful attacks. Because in reality, that's something that we likely will not be able to do in an attack. In fact, this video by JJ really made me think a lot about a book that I've often recommended to friends. The book is called Meditations on Violence, a comparison of martial arts training and real-world violence. Written by Lieutenant Rory Miller, who has a long list of impressive credentials, the book has strongly shaped a lot of my ideas on self-defense. In the book, Lieutenant Miller talks a lot about how violence really occurs in the real world, and he shares that attackers tend to attack from a place of advantage, and they tend to be prepared for pain. So, pain compliance techniques cannot necessarily be relied upon if you're the victim of some predator. Predators, or people who plan on committing violence, do so from a position of advantage and will often tackle you when you're blindsided, like right after you've opened your car door or as you come around an alley corner. For this reason, your self-defense techniques need to be effective after you've already been overwhelmed. This is why the razor blade actually outweighs the firearm in my estimation for a day-to-day self-defense tool. I'm a huge advocate of safe firearm carry, but you have to be carrying it in order for it to be useful to you, and most people simply will not carry a firearm. But most people will find a razor blade to be so practical, they'll find themselves inconvenienced without it. It's likely that you open a few different types of packaging throughout your day, and this usually involves tearing, ripping, or cutting it with whatever means you have available. This is usually pretty unsatisfactory, but if you have a razor blade available, you have one of the most sharp and precise methods of cutting available. And in the case of a surprise attack like the one that we're talking about, where you've been overwhelmed and surprised and maybe your arms are pinned, having something which allows you to cause your enemy devastating injury at close range is vital. And for this reason, the razor blade can often outstrip the firearm. A firearm is a standoff weapon, which means that you need a certain amount of distance to be able to use it. If your assailant is already within arm's reach or has surprised you, you will likely not be able to bring a gun to bear fast enough to defend yourself with. Whereas a razor blade is something that you can bring to bear while your arms are pinned or close to your body, or even just carry without raising alarm. A razor blade is something which gives you the ability to cause extreme injury to your opponent without a great amount of skill on your part or the ability to move your arms or apply a great amount of strength. And this is what makes it ideal for such a wide range of people. along with the fact that it's quite legal to carry a razor blade in almost any place, even where firearms are not allowed. And in those situations, a small sharp blade can be one of your best options to defend yourself against an overwhelming attack, in which your assailant is likely trying to pin or control your arms and keep you from being able to use powerful or precise attacks like pen compliance techniques, which makes striking pens, flashlights, and even pepper spray potentially not reliable in a true full-on attack. No matter what weapon you choose to use, you need to be able to use it properly because you're just as likely to harm yourself as anybody else, and to give a weapon to an enemy to use against you. Self-defense skills are perishable, and so, just like we've said throughout this video, we always need to re-examine our conceptions about what we think violence will be like. I'm going to share some links in the description below to help you find some books that I think are great to help re-examine your concepts about self-defense techniques. These will be affiliate links, which means that the original price contains a commission that will be given to me to help grow this channel. The same goes for the links to the first aid gear. As always, I believe that first aid and self-defense go hand in hand because we're definitely far more likely to encounter a random injury than random violence, and we want the ability to be able to do our best in either situation. I hope that this discussion has been thought-inspiring, and if it has, share some of your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you everybody for watching, and I hope you'll subscribe and stay tuned with Let's Talk About Prepping for future videos. Stay safe out there, everyone.